Happy fall season, everyone, and welcome to the Is This Love podcast. I don't know why I did that. Where we answer and ask questions about love and navigate the weird and wonderful world of relationships. We are your hosts. We are here to dissect, I forget what the other words are, but it starts with a D. And we are going to really dissect the world of relationships with myself, Francis, a.k.a. the other guy, and the woman with everyone's favorite laugh, Miss Sara Nade. Hi, Sara. How's it going?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
You know, it's cold and it's dark. Quick question. Which do you prefer? The darkness of right now or the light and brightness of the middle of the year?
Of light and brightness of like summer?
Yeah, summer, or the dark and chill of the wintertime. I know it feels loaded, but
I think I prefer more light. It can get really hot in the summer, and you know, wearing sunscreen a lot can get annoying, but it does get really cold here. Not as cold as like, you know, the Midwest.
Right,
I know that we're nowhere near that, but we're already in like the low 40s, and I'm very cold.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. That's cold. That's pretty cold. I only bring that up because this is my favorite time of year. I love dark. If I could live in Alaska during this time of year, I would.
Oh, wow.
And just have 30 days of night. I'm perfectly fine.
Oh, my gosh. The vampires?
Well, maybe not the vampire part. More the dark part than the vampire part. But then I'd have what's his face is my buddy. Oh my god, who's the
Josh
guy?
Hartnett?
Josh Hartnett. Yeah, I'd be my buddy, and we'll find vampires together. It'll be great. But yeah, no, I was just curious because I had to drive home today, and I'm like, man, it's dark. Oh man,
yeah.
It's really dark. So I wasn't used to it, but no, I was just curious. No, the real question I have for you, because it got brought up today as more of a joke, but I'm curious if the myth still exists. Now, before I have to warn anyone who's listening right now that we normally don't talk about anything too not safe for work, but I have to ask this question because I need Sarah's opinion on this question.
Okay.
And it's not safe for work. So warning, you know, parental guidance suggested. We're going to talk about whether or not size really matters, because it was brought up again as a trending topic on Twitter, despite kind of the chaos that's happening on Twitter right now. So when you're listening to this 2 weeks from now, I guess you're listening to it now, but we recorded this 2 weeks ago. A lot of chaos, a lot of craziness going on Twitter, but topics, like weird topics, are now showing up on my timeline, and one of which was whether or about size. And the reason why I bring it up is because they're joking about it. They're like, wow, well, you know what? You know, 2 or 3, too big for me, right? Like, that's what they're saying, right? And I was like, well, I've always been told that's a myth, that women don't necessarily care as long as everything else in the bedroom is a happy moment. But Sara, as you're now talking, not for all women, but for just yourself, I'm not going to give you that burden, but
Thank you.
But your maybe your general feel for that topic, is that something that is still considered an issue? Is that something that people still care about as ladies?
You know, I actually don't talk about it at all with my friends. So it's definitely not a hot topic amongst, you know, my circle. Are you asking if the too big for me thing is real?
No,
that is real.
That too big for me is real, but not 2 to 3. You know, that's not real. That was more of an exaggeration.
What does 2 to 3 mean?
Inches is too big. Was their joke? That was their joke. Was that 2 to 3 inches was too big for them, and they were like, okay, that was the joke.
Yeah, that is funny. No, I mean, size can matter if it's like ridiculously big. Yeah. But I do think that if it's what did they say?
It's not the
size of the boat, it's the motion in the ocean. I tend to think that's very true. I think it's how you use it.
Mm-hmm.
People who are working with what some might bemoan as inferior equipment have, really learned to perform wonderfully. And
right. And
so I think you just stay positive and think I'm going to become an expert at this, and you don't have anything to worry about.
And also they develop other skills, right? Like
sure, yeah.
They have other talents that accommodate for the lack of anything there. But no, it was funny, and I'm like, ha ha ha, whatever. But people were taking it seriously. They're like, well, actually, the average size of the American blah 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 is this, and it's like, okay, right?
There's a lot of comparisons stuff, and people make each other feel bad. Like when they say stuff like that, they're like, well, mine's an okay size, and it's like, well, what about someone smaller than you? Now they feel like crap. Well, I feel like you shouldn't feel bad about your body, and
right.
And again, you can absolutely be a magnificent partner,
right?
No matter what your size is, because there is all kinds of tricks to learn, right?
Exactly, right? Yeah, no, definitely. And there's tools and other implements that you can get to even compensate if necessary. Now, I feel also that we had a whole episode sort of about porn, sort of, and that definitely gives. There was a study that said that a lot of young men, like in their 20s, felt inadequate, and one of the biggest reasons why they don't want to have sexual relations with ladies is because, well, they look at porn and they're like, look at them, they're like a million, they're like from here to the moon.
They auditioned and they cast them.
They're like, they could be in the other room and like take care of business, like it's amazing. And men who aren't experienced and haven't had a lot of relationships with women are like, well, I'm inadequate and I don't want to be that person who makes a woman unhappy in that way, so I'm not going to do anything about it. Like, I'm just going to be over here now and sad, when in reality, like you said, there's all different ways. But I'm thank you for kind of clearing that up. I appreciate it. Thank you, Sarah. But it was out there, and I'm just like, there's people who still kind of argue with that.
And I'm not going to say there aren't shallow, mean people who make people feel bad for everything. So if you run into somebody like that and they make you feel inferior,
right,
then they're the rare one. They're the weird one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, never mind. I was going to make a joke about my own package, but I'm not going to. It's fine. Just like,
I'm just saying in general, not just even about that, but like if somebody's like makes fun of you or is shallow in a way that like they're breaking you down for something, especially like physically,
right?
That's not. You can find lots of people who are awesome and not like that.
Yeah, look, I've been very fortunate to have partners who have never laughed when they saw it or anything. So, I have that going for me at least.
Well, that's good.
It's like, well, yeah, let me tell you a joke. Ta-da! Anyway.
Oh my God.
Anyway. Which leads me to one last question before we actually get into the real question, the real meat of the show, which is your questions. Again, you can send your questions to isthislovepod@gmail.com. Now, for ladies, again, this is not, I find it very interesting, right? A lot of men get measured in that way, based on their body parts. Women, not so much usually. Usually guys are pretty happy with whatever's there. There's never really a complaint of like, oh my God, you're...
Don't even.
It's just like,
we know.
Yeah. But no one's ever said. I don't think any guy has ever said like, "Oh my God, it's so big" or "It's so small," right? Like your bits. Right.
I mean,
because it's accommodating. Usually, it's accommodating.
Yeah.
But
I've heard of people saying they
what, really
feel like they need to get like some sort of work done there to like make it smaller. Yeah.
What?
Or like, maybe not make it smaller, but like visually seem. I don't know. There is cosmetic surgery.
No, there is.
Down there, if you are feeling that you are not attractive.
Yeah. Well, there's vajazzling. You can always vajazzle. You can always do that.
Is that like bedazzling?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't see how that helps anything.
That was like a thing in the like late 90s, early 2000s. That was like a thing.
Who does that feel good for?
Is that for? No, it's to make it look presentable. It's like to make it.
Oh my
look,
God.
It's like. You know how we cover everything in Swarovski crystals? It's like that, you know. You just like.
I mean, you don't cover everything in Swarovski crystals.
But like, you know, you're.
That would be one thing you don't need to cover in crystals.
Well, I'm just saying, like some people thought that they needed to like put designs on there out of like little like beads and stuff and like little diamonds and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, but you're right. Yeah, there's like surgeries. That's true that you can get done there, guys. Obviously,
yeah, and I don't know if it actually changes like the actual dimensions of anything, but I think it's supposed to make it look different, right. And
because it's weird because I don't know. Anyway, it's weird because most of the time, people. I don't know. I guess people care. I don't know. I get it. I guess I get it. I guess some things are more visually appealing than others, I suppose, for some people, you know. I've heard the term meat curtains, and it's just like, okay, I understand.
That's disgusting.
I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I've heard some really, really gross terms.
There's some pretty crazy terms for that
sure.
stuff, yeah. But,
yeah.
People are very picky about that stuff, I guess. It's very strange. But it's unfortunate. I don't know. I feel like we've come. I feel like as a society we should have come to the point where we're just like, we're getting together and having fun. We're in intimate relations.
A lot of people are.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who are cool, who aren't
cool. Yeah.
Who aren't going to be weird about that stuff, and yet there's a lot of people who are
going to be weird about that stuff.
They're going to be weird about it.
Yeah. Yeah, if that's anything, if the internet has taught me anything, is that we're going to be weird about everything all the time, always. And it's unfortunate. But,
it is unfortunate.
Yeah, it's the world we live in, and it sucks. But what doesn't suck, though, are your questions. And that's why we're going to dive in to asking. Well, we're not asking. You're asking us. And we're hopefully answering properly. Your questions. So, Sarah, let's get into the segment we call
Is This Love Questions?
All right, what do we got?
Okay. So, my girlfriend insists to know where I am at all times. For example, if I go out with my friends and we end up going to a different restaurant than the one I told her we were going to, she wants me to update her on the plans. She says she needs to know where I am in case of an emergency or if I stop responding, but I value my independence and this feels kind of paranoid and controlling. Is this just a normal thing couples do, or should I put my foot down?
Ooh. You know, your iPhone has a feature where you can share your location with another person who has an iPhone.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Turn your locations on or share our locations.
Exactly. It's literally a GPS that shares exactly where you are at all times with another person. Like, you just turn it on. Like, you actively are like, hey, here I am.
Yeah.
Stalk me, because I'm giving you permission and I'm giving you access to this. So, Apple thought of this scenario,
That would take out some of the steps. I mean,
well,
if the issue is all the work of constantly texting her and calling her, that would certainly, get rid of that.
Well, have you done this where you have been in a relationship where you went out with some folks and you changed your plans mid, we were going to go bowling, but it got crowded. So instead we went to, play pool or something, billiards or something. And you're like, well, it just changed. And it was spontaneous and I didn't tell you. So we're over here instead and blah, blah, blah. That's why I'm late.
I can't remember. I think I usually I don't know. I think usually if a crazy thing happens in the night, I probably tell my partner, but I don't remember the last time like I changed a venue or something, honestly. I did have had a partner before who was very concerned about like safety stuff when out and about. So he had a higher higher standards and like protocols than me. Like he was very concerned about like my being in a situation where I couldn't get help or like putting myself in danger in ways I never really thought about, and I were most likely not going to happen, but he was just like really hammering me on like following certain things, like always have your phone on you and all these different things. So I mean, I'm a pretty careful person, so I was just like, okay, I feel like you're overdoing it. It's weird for me to say, like, I feel like you're overdoing it with the safety stuff. That is a very strange thing for me to say.
Oh, really?
But I did, because I'm so careful. But I did it because, I don't know. It was like, I didn't want him to worry. Right. You know, it wasn't that big of a deal for me. It wasn't like he was telling me I can't hang out with certain friends or I can't go somewhere after a certain time. He was just like, I need you to be able to get help if you need it, and I need you to, you know, not be cutting yourself off from resources at any time.
Right.
And I felt like it was very unlikely the things he was worried about were going to happen, but I don't know. I thought it was sweet that he was worried, and it was clearly bothering him, and it gave him peace of mind to know that I could reach him if I needed to. So I didn't mind doing it.
Would you then turn on that Find Me Anywhere thing on your phone so that
I would share locations, if I've never done it before, but you know, if my next partner and I decide let's do that, that seems perfectly reasonable to me.
Okay. So now we go to this person who feels, just based off the question, is like they're feeling a little smothered, sort of, I guess. Maybe not smothered, but they feel smothered. I would say the word is smothered, right? They feel like they don't have the independence. Well, it's in there. It values independence, right? And that it feels paranoid and controlling. Now, I don't know. Just like an update doesn't feel that big of a deal to me. You know, like a single text of being like, hey, we're going to this bar instead, or hey, like, as long as it's not constant, I guess, where it takes away from the fun of being around other people. It's like, hold on a second, guys, gotta go type, you know, or gotta call or whatever. Like, you know, as long
every
as
5 minutes.
Yeah, every 5 minutes. Like, hold on, I know, funny, that was a good joke, but bring it to the punchline. Hold on a second, you know, type away, right, and then right, like. Okay.
Yeah. Like, should we go to the bar next? Let me call my girlfriend, you guys. Make sure that's okay.
Yeah, it's like, wait, hold on. You want to go to the other side of well, hold on a second. that's like, I don't know, 60 feet. I better let her know. Like, you know, okay, in that case, all right. But it's simply just, all right, plans have changed. We're going to a different restaurant. We're going to a different place. All right, fine. Like, a quick text doesn't feel that. Like, I don't feel like he's shackled because someone is asking for a message.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I've heard of this before where people are like, I don't know. I hate it when my partner expects me to text back within like 4 hours, or
4 hours.
I once read this thing where this guy was like, my girlfriend flipped out because I didn't get back to her in like 1 or 2 days. And I was like, what? I mean, that's like the other end of the spectrum. But they're like, God, she's smothering me. She like wants me to get back to her like within like 5 hours. And what am I supposed to do? But
right.
So obviously everyone has like a different threshold. And if you need so much independence that, like, you know, you can't you're like freaking out your partner all the time, or they just like don't know where you are, or their level of communication, they feel worried for you all the time. I don't know. I guess you got a compromise was probably in order. But to me personally, I feel like controlling is more like a jealousy thing. Like they're telling you who you can't hang out with, what you can or can't do. Like as an activity, they're saying, you can't hang out with this guy because I don't like the way he feels about this. And, so I guess I can see why if you're like, I'm used to answering to nobody. This feels like I'm being smothered. I guess I can kind of understand that, but it's just a nice thing to do for the person who's worried about you. And it's nice to have somebody worried about you. It's nice to have someone who like cares about you and wants you to be safe. That's one of the nice things about being in a relationship. So It doesn't seem like that much effort. I know maybe it's like annoying. You're not used to it, but just so that, and keep an eye on it. If they get a little crazy about it and they're like, keep your speakerphone on so I can hear all your conversations the whole night. That might be a problem, but like. But yeah, I mean, just like sharing location to me seems like an easy thing. You can just turn it on, like Francis said. Yeah. You don't have to keep updating her, and she might text you and be like, "Hey, I thought you were going to this place," and you'd be like, "We changed our mind."
Yeah, like independence means because he's like, "I'm on it," but it's not like she's telling you where. Based on this one question, it doesn't sound like she is saying where he can and cannot go or what he can and cannot do. It's more of just like, oh, now I know. Okay, good. It's just it's peace of mind more than it is anything else. It's just like, oh, you changed the venue? Cool. I now know. Fine. Have fun. I just needed to know peace of mind. Lets me feel better so that I know where you are in case I need you for anything. It's like, oh, now you're 2 hours away versus an hour away or whatever. Or now you're, stuff like that, right?
Exactly.
Paranoid? I don't think it's paranoid. Paranoid would be, again, the turning the speakerphone on so that she's still constantly listening to the conversation. Paranoid is, like, I have to, every time I do anything, I have to let her know. Like that's paranoid and that's controlling. So I feel like, the question was, is this just a normal thing couples do? I think it is. I think it's pretty normal.
I think it is pretty normal. And I'm actually very cautious. Like I said, I'm a cautious person. I appreciate like being able to know where my partner is. I don't think I've ever, like I said, I've done the locations thing, but I get it. I mean, I like to know that if something happens to them, I can send the ambulance to the right place and stuff, like what if I don't know, like what if
I know what you mean.
I mean, like face down in a ditch somewhere.
Oh my God.
That's just like where your brain goes.
Wow. No, I mean, look, I get it, right? Like, for instance, I when I was single for, so many years and then I had a girlfriend recently and I had to get used to the idea of someone wanting to know, like, oh, did you get home safe? Did you do this? Did you do that? Like, I was used to not telling anyone anything because I just did stuff on my own for years, for a decade plus, where I just did whatever, and this girlfriend was like, okay, well, look, you did this thing. Let me know, when you get home, or let me know, like this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, well, I mean, I never thought twice about it, but it was hard. It was really surprising because, again, I spent so much time not having to tell anyone anything. And so it's like,
isn't that crazy how that changes from just like, I'm the same way. I like for so long, nobody, I mean, they would care, but
right, yeah.
I didn't tell anyone. Mm-hmm. But then like once you're in a relationship and you're telling each other, I'm on my way home, I'll let you know when I'm home. Yeah. I'm home. Yeah. And it's so different. And there is kind of a sense of comfort in it, even when you're like, okay, I'm home and that drive was fine. It took like an hour and nothing happened. You're like, but somebody cares,
It was very nice. Yeah. Like it was probably like, I liked it a lot. I was happy somebody wanted me to do that. Like it was something that was very comforting and like, oh, this is great. Someone wants to know, like it became a habit. and it became a very comfortable habit. It's like, okay, it was like the first thing I did when I got home. I was like, it's kind of like, even because she was long distance, it was different, but it's equivalent to the open the door, honey, I'm home, right, type of deal. Right?
Yeah.
It has that same kind of feel to it. It's like, oh, I'm here, and she would always react in a positive way, and it's like, it's a really nice feeling, right?
It is nice.
Yeah, and it'll be curious to see what the next whatever the next relationship is, and see if that is a thing that happens, and see if that's a thing that'll come up, and be like, will they care that I'm home? will they ask? Like, I don't know.
Don't make any noise when you come home because
right.
I'm watching my stories.
Right. Yeah. It's like, oh.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. Like I think he could look at this as something that's annoying, but on the other end, it's actually really nice. Like it's I don't think, I mean, you can be annoyed with it because your feelings are valid and you can feel whatever you want, but I think that there's a positive way to look at this, which is it's really nice to have someone care.
Right. Yeah, it seems like it's something he's never had to really experience before. It feels like it's something that's new to him because it's like, why? It's more of like, why does she want to know? Like, why does she care? And
yeah.
It's because she does. It's just because she does, right?
Yeah.
And when I had that experience, it was like, oh, it's because someone cared that even though it's the same commute every day, coming home, it's still the same thing. It's like, oh, there was a comfort to it, and there was something sweet about it. That's like, oh, well, no one else is going to ask me. Like, no one else is going to be
exactly.
Like, oh, did you make it home all right? Well, maybe.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all right, dude. It's okay. Don't worry about it. It's normal. And
it's normal. A lot of people do it.
It'll take 2 seconds out of your day to be like, hey, honey, or whatever pet name it's Pookie, whatever pet name you have for them. Pookie, I'm away. Oh, I went to this other place instead. We went to the IHOP instead of the Denny's this time, so we'll be back later.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Good choice.
They're rabble rousers with their pancakes and their need for waffles. So there you go. All right. Anyway, what's the next question?
How do you know when it's time to end a relationship?
Well, never mind. I was going to say something really dark.
Oh dear.
I was going to say when the body goes cold, but
oh my God.
When is a good time? I don't know, 5:30. No,
Oh man.
End of the day, it's just like
the minute after Valentine's Day is over.
Right. Yeah. Ladies. Okay, so gentlemen, break up with your lady after Valentine's Day, or no. It should be, ladies, break up with your man after Valentine's Day, and gentlemen, break up with your woman after March 14th, which is, you know what March 14th is, right?
I don't.
Oh. So March 14th is this made-up day for men. Because in Japan, they have 2 days, right? In Japan, they have Valentine's Day and they have White Day, right? Mm-hmm. And Valentine's Day, women get spoiled, and then on White Day, men get spoiled. So, they
I think I have heard of that.
Yeah, so they split it up, right? So it's like, oh, here, ladies, here's the candy, here's the chocolates. Women, I think men give women women get men chocolates on Valentine's Day, and then men give women chocolates on White Day. Okay. But in the U.S., there's this kind of pseudo holiday that men created called Steak and a BJ Day, which is March 14th, which is a day that so that's that is supposedly their version of Valentine's Day, which is where they are spoiled. Well, they spoil their girlfriend on Valentine's Day with candies and a nice date and whatever, and then women reciprocate on March 14th with a steak and a PJ. So there you go.
Oh my God.
Men are simple creatures. We don't need much. But yeah, so a good when is All right. So the serious question is, how do you know when it's time?
Yeah.
when to end a relationship. I don't know. I don't know. This is a serious question for you, but do you ever really know when it's time? Like in your own head? Like, have you ever been in a relationship where you're like, well, this is it. Like, I realize now that this relationship has to end.
I think you approach it over time. I think last week you were talking about like breaking up in the heat of a moment. I guess that would be like, right. You don't even think about it. You're just like, it's over. But,
right. Well,
I don't think that happens terribly often.
No, it was in relation to the question, it was just in relation to that question. I was trying to think of a scenario in which that would work because I haven't been in a scenario for that particular question. So I'm like, well, that would make sense if you did it in the heat of the moment and you brought him back. Like, there's a reason to bring him, get the man back, right? Maybe that'd be a reason. But
I've only been in one breakup where it was like heat of the moment. And so it's pretty rare. Like, It does not happen that much. No. I think usually, and it's possible that they were thinking about breaking up before that, right?
Yeah.
So, I think that you, approach it over time. And then I think this is where the question is coming from, is because you're thinking in your head, you're like, oh my God, is it time? Should I break up? Should I do that? Or should I give it more time? Do I give it like more chances? And yeah, I mean, whenever you break up is when you break up, right? But if you do it too soon, does that mean you didn't give it enough of a chance? Like, are you going to regret it? Are you going to be like, oh shoot, I threw away something great because I was impulsive or I was tempted by somebody else? In which case, that's maybe a hard-earned lesson. And there's that might be very painful, but there's no such thing as wasted time, right? So you learn something and maybe you grow and change something about yourself, and who knows, maybe they'll give you another chance. You never know. Right. But the other issue for I think more people is waiting too long to break up. Yeah. And that is that's like when things are bad and you just stay, or things just aren't very good, but you're like, oh, but I don't want to be single, or
which I'm guaranteeing that happens a lot.
Yeah, that happens a lot. I don't really want to be single, or this relationship isn't good, but I'm used to worse, so I don't want to like go back out there.
Well, at least it was better than my other terrible relationship, so, might as well stick around for this one.
I can put up with this for a while longer, so I think I just will. Oh, God. Or, like, they're really terrible, and seems like when people are in really terrible relationships, it can be really hard for them to break up and leave, even though it's super obvious to everyone else that that's the best thing for you. It's hard to do it for yourself. Yeah. So... how do you know if like it's the right time because you've given your all and it's just not a good relationship? I would say, try to calm down, try to like look at it from a calm point of view if you can. Give yourself a few days. Pull out the old journal or something that the other person will never see.
Right. Yeah.
And write down why you want to break up. And then maybe write down.
Oh, do like a pros and cons? Like sort of like a
a little bit, okay. So like the cons, right, is you write down the reasons you think you want to break up. Look at all of those. If any of them seem really toxic, pay attention to that. Right. Like, don't be sweeping that under the rug, because that could be a good sign if you're, like, ignoring a lot of toxic stuff.
She keeps wanting to know when I change venues and I'm out on a date.
Yeah. Super toxic.
Oh, so toxic.
Just as bad as cheating nonstop.
Right. Pro, she cheats all the time. Con, she keeps asking me where I am.
Dude, you have no idea. She asked me to let her know where I am. So much worse.
Oh man.
If it's like cheating, if it's like cheating all the time, maybe put a big old T next to that. Right.
Yeah.
And then if it's like, she wants to know where I am sometimes, put like a sort of shrug smiley face next to it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I also think it's good to think about like why you love them.
Yeah.
And would you regret it if you broke up with them?
Yeah. Well,
because
I think no matter what, I think there's always going to be a tinge of regret,
yeah.
you know?
There could be, yeah, I mean, there will be some regret, but like, I don't know, this is just my idea of like how to balance out if you're being like impulsive or just like the kind of person who tends to find reasons to leave every relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because some people find themselves in a situation, I've done this plenty of times, who are a little bit destructive of themselves, right? Where when they have something really good happen, they have a tendency to self-sabotage. And people will do that. People will sabotage the good things in their life because, you know, somewhere in their head, a little voice is telling them they don't deserve it. Or they...
Oh, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Which, look, as a person who has imposter syndrome about everything, you know, I feel like quite often I don't deserve much of anything. And so I see a lot of good stuff quite often. And it's just like, bleh, you know, like, I don't know. Like even this last relationship I was in, part of me was like, well, I don't, you know, there's all of these struggles, there's all of these things going on. And even though I told Raquel I wouldn't really talk about it, but just like, I think part of it too is in my own head. I'm like, well, I don't really deserve this. I shouldn't be having this. I should be miserable. I should be meh. Right.
Yeah.
Part of me thought that. Now I you know, even though in the end I feel like this is kind of the right decision for the moment, you know, I mean, it wasn't all that, you know, wasn't all that great at where I was. So yeah, I think that, you know, I think I made the right decision, not necessarily a good one, but the right one maybe. So I agree. Like we often just kind of look at difficult situations and be like, well, that's it. I can't do it anymore. Right. We have an argument or something and it's like, I can't, we're done.
That doesn't mean you... Okay, well, yeah, if it's like right in the heat of an argument and there was nothing coming up to it, then that might be too quick. But we do often also break up when we should, too, you know?
Yeah. I'm just giving, I guess, the other side of like, well, sometimes we can do it for all the wrong reasons. But yeah, no.
Yeah.
There's definitely right reasons to do it as well. But knowing for sure 100%, I don't think there's ever a 100% sure guaranteed way to know when it's time to break up. But well, no, there is. No, there definitely is.
In some situations, it's clearer than others. Yeah. I would say also, I think everyone has. Well, no, not everyone. A lot of people have
limits,
tendencies. Like for me, I tend to break up later than I should. Like
you're the eternal
by the
optimist,
time I break,
so
what's that?
You're the eternal optimist, so you're like, I can make it work,
baby. Yeah, by the time I break up, I'm like, why did I wait? Like, you know, after I'm looking back at it after time, which is when you can really tell when the right time to break up was, right, in the future.
Right.
But I look back, and I'm like, I can't believe it took me so long to, you know, see that stuff. So other people might be like more inclined to leave relationships before things get too real, or, you know, they just are like, if things are uncomfortable, I'm out. I can always get rid of a relationship, you know?
It's funny. I think people treat, like, I've been thinking about getting a haircut. It's like, well, it took me 2 years to get my hair this long, right? It took me about 2.5 years. I'm like, if I cut it, I guess, if anything, it could grow back again. And then people treat relationships like that. Well, if I break up with them, I can always find another one. Or if I like, it's like very nonchalant when it's like, I don't know if you.
There's always something better around the horizon, right?
Like, I don't know, you know. Which I think when I'm ready to, like, seriously hit the dating scene 100%, I'll cut my hair. I think that's when I'll do it. Because I don't know a lot of ladies who like a guy with long hair. I think that's...
Some do.
Some do, maybe. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I could always grow it back again if, if worst comes to worst. I could always grow it back out again. But yeah. And,
you could. I dated a guy with long hair once.
And you said, you look like a villain. You look like like an evil villain.
Yeah. I will. Yeah, you know how I feel.
I know
a lot of men's long hairstyles do remind me of like 90s action movie villains.
Right. Yeah. No, I know. Yeah. I mean, look, in Die Hard, the one big German guy who beats up Bruce Willis had a ponytail. So I'm like, oh, I get it. Blonde ponytail. All right, gotcha. But no, you're right. I don't know. Part of me feels like, yeah, if you feel like you've exhausted every avenue to make the relationship work, I was almost going to say like a 3 strikes you're out type of deal, but not necessarily, because I feel that's a little too simplistic. But
that may be it. Yeah. I mean, you could be like, we've had this conversation 3 times. You're out. That's a very
wow
strict limit.
Do you tell them that at the top of the relationship? It's like, okay, before we get any more serious, if I have to talk to you 3 times about anything, it's done. You can be anything. I don't care what it is. 3 times, you're out. And it's just like, oh
my God. Don't worry. Before I start any of these serious conversations, I'll be like, strike 2.
Right. Oh, and maybe every once in a while I'll say foul, so you know you're safe.
Yeah. I'll be like, okay, that was a foul, but it was awfully close to a strike, so yeah. I was actually thinking about that for the list that you make, if you're like thinking of reasons to break up, maybe also next to those things, be like, how many times have I like tried to have a very clear conversation with my partner about this thing?
Right.
And what was the result of that?
It's embarrassing sometimes to come up to ask your partner, like, oh, by the way, this thing that you do, not necessarily bothers me, but this thing that you do, well, maybe okay, bothers me or something, right? Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something really serious enough to warrant being like, yeah, this is an issue. Like, I really wish you wouldn't do that. But then I'm trying to think of one that comes to mind, but I can't think of anything that's not so obvious, right? That it's like, well, obviously you shouldn't be doing that. But like maybe staying out late a lot, right? And never really checking in or something. It's like that really bothers someone. And
that could bother people, yeah.
And it's constant, right? And sure, you come home safe every time or with an Uber or whatever. Like you're always making your way home. But I never know where you are, and I never know what's happening. And like, not that I don't trust you, it's just I just want to make sure that you're okay. But you just, you always tell me after the fact, and that can bother you. And so you've had this conversation 7 times. Well, maybe 7's too much.
Yeah,
Maybe that's a big red flag.
That's where you put a 7 next to it, and then like a sad face.
You and your emojis. You have to have an emoji for everything.
You have to have emojis in your journal of whether I should dump them or not.
One will have a chicken, one will have
Yeah, if they have been just not picking up after themselves, that is a poop emoji.
Poop emoji, yeah. And then if they're really good, and then they get the eggplant emoji, and if they're okay.
Yeah, you're like, God, all these things I know about them, but they do have an eggplant, so I don't know what to do here.
Oh man, yeah.
Size matters for me, so I don't know if that's a very good or deep reason to like.
But you know what? Those for some people someone. It is important. For some people,
it's like, important. But if you're like, maybe I should dump them, but I like their body parts so much.
You'd be surprised.
I don't know.
You'd be surprised. Some people stay for the sex
because
the sex is so good. Like,
is that a sustainable relationship though?
It isn't. But I'm not saying it is. I'm not arguing that it's like a good sustainable relationship. I'm just saying people.
Oh, I do know people stay together for the sex. Yeah. I talked to this one guy years ago. I would talk to him several times. He was the roommate of someone I knew, and he would talk about his relationship, and it was like the worst thing I'd ever heard. It was just like she was crazy abusive to him and was just super mean to him and used him. and it was everything bad. And I was like, why do you stay then? And he was like, oh man, she's so hot. Sex.
I'm telling you right now, people, never underestimate the power of hot and goods. I mean, that stuff, good sex and hotness can really...
But he was miserable. Yeah. Like, he was a miserable person, and he hated his relationship, and he talked crap about her constantly.
There's just some things you're just willing to put up with because you know you guys shouldn't, in real world kind of perfect scenario, you guys would never be together because you're like a level 2 and she's a level 10. Like, that makes sense to me. Even the other way around, if she's a level 2, he's a level 10. I get it. I 100% get it. I get it. Like, I understand.
I don't know. I mean, he could easily be a 7 or an 8 if he stopped just drinking all the time and took care of himself. But yeah, he's drinking all the time because of her. Absolutely.
But there's no guarantee though that he'll ever get someone as attractive as whatever his abusive girlfriend was. That's the problem. I cannot
imagine someone attractive enough to be worth that. I just can't even picture it. And I know I've seen the celebrities and the Maxims and all that. I just can't picture it.
Dudes are just that shallow sometimes. We just are. We just are. We will put up with a lot if they're good looking enough. We really will.
He was a very unhappy person, and he was 100% doing it to himself. So
yeah. I mean, look.
I hope the sex was just the best thing ever because everything else was the worst.
Right. Yeah. No, it's hard for me to argue. I'm fumbling with words because it's just really hard for me to be a person who can not understand where that guy's coming from. I mean, I wouldn't do it because I can't do that personally. I don't care how physically attractive that they are to the outside world. To me, they'd be ugly because of the way they treated me. I couldn't find them attractive because of the way they treated me, right? And for some reason, this guy is able to, which is, I guess...
he doesn't find her personality attractive. He talks crap about her constantly.
Yeah, but I mean, to me, though, that reflects on their outer beauty. It doesn't matter. They could be the most attractive supermodel in the world, but if they're hideous towards me, they're ugly. Exterior-wise, they're ugly to me no matter how, size 0 they are or whatever. It doesn't matter. Whatever the criteria is for what's considered a supermodel, doesn't matter. They need to be a good person. That's kind of the criteria of attractiveness for me. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So assuming that you're not staying with this person just because they're super hot and for the sex,
right?
Then I would try to keep an eye on if you have brought up your issues with them. And I know it's hard, like you're saying, it can be really hard to bring up with someone that you have a problem. But consider this: if you don't bring it up to them and you just get to the point that you break up, and they're like, "Why didn't you tell me any of this?"
I would have fixed it for you. Yeah, that was so easy. Yeah.
I don't think you're going to feel very good about that.
No. Oh, no, they'll feel like dirt.
If they don't listen to you, if they're mad at you and they're like, whatever, well, you were probably going to break up with them eventually anyways, so...
Well, and also, our imagination of how they'll react to something is so much worse than reality. 99% of the time, right?
That's true, yeah.
We always imagine, they're going to spit in our faces, they're going to yell at us, they're going to whatever. It's will they? I mean... Probably not. They're with you for a reason, right? They're in a relationship with you for a reason. I'm pretty sure they'll be open to the, to the community.
I think it's worth it to have the talk, even if it's hard.
Yeah, I agree. All right, now before we get into the right cow left ghost corner, I just want to. We have a few more days. I just want to bring it up because this is awesome. I can't believe how well this Kickstarter is doing. It's kind of freaking me out how well it's doing. But
yay!
Yeah, it's fantastic. But it doesn't mean we don't want your help. We want this book to get out there. We want the story to get out there. tinyurl.com/monstertales. tinyurl.com/monstertales. Go check it out. For $10, you get the ebook. That's it. $10 for the ebook, and you're set. You get it before the holidays, so you get to read our fantastic stories. There's 20 of us. authors who wrote amazing things. Well, they did. I just wrote a story. Everyone else wrote amazing stories because they are fantastic authors, fantastic writers. This is only my second foray into writing something like real and complete. So I'm not going to give myself a pound on the back yet until people have read it and reviewed it, and and hopefully people like it. But check it out, please, because we have so many of our stretch goals have been unlocked. You'll get bookmarks, you'll get audio commentary on the books, you'll get a musical playlist. So all the backers get a musical playlist that accompany the stories. So I have to add to that playlist. That's going to be interesting. I have to add some music to that playlist. I don't know what, but I'll be cool either way. There'll be a field guide to the kind of monsters that we have in this book. Like, that's really cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. There'll be variant covers for the book as well. And we have our final, our biggest one. I don't know by the time you hear this will be what I think like oh my goodness, what day will this be? The 18th, I want to say. So on the 18th is when I drop this episode. And maybe we'll have unlocked this final thing before it ends, which is I think it ends with that, the Monday, the 21st. So you only have a few days if you listen to this. But bonus short stories. So you not only are getting the book, you're getting more stuff from us. Stories that I guess I have to write one now. I don't know. I think these are people who already wrote stuff and have stuff. I would like to write more, but whatever. Check it out, please. We'd love your contributions. We'd love for your support. And hey, look, even though it's not directly supporting this podcast, it kind of inadvertently does, because you're showing love for that book shows love for us here. So go ahead and check it out. tinyurl.com/monstertales, TALES. All right. Now that I got the plug out of the way, we're plugging stuff. We're going to get into our corner here with Mr. Right Cow Left Coast. We have some questions from him. Sarah, what is one of those questions?
Okay. He gives a lot of questions, so I just picked some quick questions here.
Sure.
The first one is, when dating, how much alcohol is too much alcohol?
Well, you're not a drinker, though, right? You're not much of a drinker.
I mean, I can have one, usually. That's usually a good time to stop, is after one.
You're not much of a drinker.
I'm not much of a drinker, but, I know other people have a higher threshold. I would say I don't know. It's really hard for me to tell. Like, if I see someone having 3 drinks, I don't know. I guess I try to pay attention. If they're acting sloshed, that's too much.
Well, for much of my life, I surrounded myself around alcoholics. I mean, not literal alcoholics. They just drank a lot, but they didn't do it to excess. I guess they did in these particular occasions, because I had one who was my best friend at the time. He drank to excess. He was getting married like a few weeks after this, and he's like, "Hey, this is my last chance to get drunk," and blah blah blah. He got to the point where he's like, the kind of drunk where he goes, "Man, I love you. You're the most amazing person ever. Oh my god." Like, those kind of drunks, right?
Yeah, the friendly drunk.
Yeah, the super friendly drunk. And then he's like, "All right, I know I'm getting married, so this is my last time I'm going to be able to do this. So I'm going to go flirt with these girls over here." And he's so wasted. Like, he's not even flirting with them. He's just like, "Let me buy you a shot." Anyway, he...
Oh, my God.
He ended up vomiting in my car after that. No, when I took him home that night. So, maybe that's too much.
I mean, yeah. That's too much for you. Yeah. My threshold is much lower.
Yeah. Well, my ex-wife used to drink a lot, too.
She did, yeah.
And so my ex-wife drank a lot, and she would get frisky when she drank a lot. So I kind of allowed it.
Oh, I see.
Because she was very, like, I don't know, she was into everything. And, like, anyway, it doesn't really matter. I don't want to get too deep into it, but it was crazy. Like, gay. I was very happy, in other words. But there, I think, when, so I don't think there's Too much is when it becomes, from my experience, when they can't remember what happened. That becomes too much, right? Like there's points where people will drink and then they black out, or they drink and then they're just sitting asleep. That's too much. But I don't like. I'm like Sarah though. One drink is all I can handle anyway. So I'm not much of a drinker personally. I'll just sit there and just sip it, and then that's it. My one drink for the entire night, and then everyone else is like, "I'll take 3 of these, man," just to start drinking all over the place.
Yeah. Well, I did date someone who was an alcoholic, and so I don't really like to see people drink a ton.
Yeah.
Especially on dates. That doesn't seem like a great time to be getting really wasted.
Well, again,
I mean, unless you both are, but I never am, so it's really weird to me if I'm with someone and they're just pounding them back.
Well, that I was the designated driver for everyone, so people felt very much.
Well, that sounds like some sort of group hang, though. We're talking about like dating.
Oh, dating, yeah. Well, again, my ex would drink a lot, but again, that benefited me, so I didn't matter. Wasn't bothered by that too much. I
would be very turned off if I was dating someone and I had to drive them home because they were wasted. I would be like, you can lose my number. Thank you.
Yeah. No, I understand that. There is when it becomes to the point where it's sloppy, but if they're coherent enough to be able to do things well, I think it's okay. Again,
I mean, if I'm in a relationship with someone and they drink a bit too much and I have to drive, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with that. But I mean, when we're in the beginning dating stage, like, why do they have to drink so much? Are they that nervous? Are they trying to put on a thing and they need more confidence? Like, what's going on here?
Liquid courage.
Liquid courage. You need a little too much liquid courage.
Yeah. So I and again, it varies, I guess, but I think for the most part, people know, like, when they become sloppy, when they stumble, that's obviously to excess. 1 or 2, if it's casual. See, that's the thing, right? Like, gone are the days of casual drinking, I guess. I don't know, but if it's 1 or 2 casual, like, and it takes you the whole night to take care of 2 drinks, I think that's pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, there's normal drinking and there's normal getting buzzed.
Yeah.
And there's even nights where you do like drink a lot, but I just think like when you first start dating someone, when you're dating, that says something.
It does.
Because that's like a time when you're supposed to be like with it, like together and showing that you are like have your stuff together. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't like to see it. I would definitely, that would be a red flag for me, seeing in early dating, like them just like kind of like losing control with the drinking.
Right. I agree. So, there you go. Too much is, I think that's, I think for most people who are dating, it'll be fairly obvious, which is too much for them. And when it becomes success. So, unless you get 2 people who'd like to just both drink in excess, right. And then it's like, well,
you
the
both
party
like
on.
to get drunk, then awesome. I guess that's the thing is when you're early dating, if you're drinking a bunch and your partner's drinking 1 and they're just like looking at you, like watching what you're doing, you're like, well, I can tell this isn't my person, and then you just keep drinking.
Well, what's funny is, like when my ex-wife and I were starting off, she was like, I don't have to drink because you don't like to drink, and I'm like, no, that's okay. I don't drink because I don't like the flavor, like the taste, right? I don't like how it tastes because I used to be able to really taste it, very sensitive to the taste of alcohol. I still am, but I deal with it more. But it's like, I was really sensitive to it. So she didn't want to. I'm like, no, it's okay. As long as it's not overboard. And it was never overboard, really. So I'm like, yeah, go for it. I don't care. So for some people, it's okay. I think it's okay in certain scenarios. Like for me, like, there's just some people like myself and maybe even Sarah who's just like, one is enough. We don't need to go so far. And, some people should feel comfortable not going, again, overboard, but being able to have a drink or 2 and be like, yeah, I can drink this whole thing and be not
and there's people who can like go out with their friends and have, get a little wasted, a little bit, not like being dragged home by the police or something, but,
yeah.
I just like to know also that the person I'm dating never, ever, ever drives under liquid influence.
Yeah.
Like, not even like, oh, I'm pretty close, I'm good,
No excuse anymore either, because we have ride-sharing services nowadays. So, like, there really is, like, taxis.
Just take an Uber.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, so there's no excuse. Taxis used to be, like, a dime a dozen. They were hard to find back in the day. Now it's like everyone's a Uber or Lyft driver. So you're pretty okay. You're all right. Anyway. All right. What's the next one here?
Okay. This one I don't know too much about. Maybe you know a little bit more than me. Sure. But I know a tiny bit. Yeah. It says, on fandoms for Harry Potter, why should someone date or not date an individual who identifies with a specific house? Like Slytherin, Ravenclaw, Gryffindor, or Hufflepuff?
So, what I find interesting is that very few fandoms are as long lasting as Harry Potter is. Harry Potter still has a rabid fan base. People still dress up. People still go to whatever the railroad station is in Europe, in London, where they have that specific stop or whatever it's called. I forget what it's called. Where they have like the cart halfway into this pillar, right? And you take pictures with it, right? Because that's how in Harry Potter, that's how there was like this invisible door that you'd go to get to the certain platform 9 3/4, right? And so that's still a thing that people celebrate. People still get dressed up. People still go to the Harry Potter lands in Universal Studios Hollywood and Florida. Like, people still love this stuff. Like, I'm so fascinated by the fact that people still love it. I still love that stuff, really, actually. It's like when the Harry Potter movies came out back in the day, it was the only trailer that ever got me to tear up a little bit, because I love that franchise. Like, I really enjoyed that franchise. So I tear up a little bit seeing that trailer, let alone the beginning of the movie. And I'd be like, oh, this is great. Wizarding World. I mean, I have wands. Like, can't see it because I don't have them out, but like behind me, I have wands that are like in boxes that I can just take out and start swishing around if I wanted to. Like, I love it. I love the whole thing. So, go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, I read the first 4 books and I watched the first 4 movies, and that's about it.
Which is, look, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm a big fantasy kind of, because that's what I grew up with, right? Like, my first books as a child were fantasy books. So I'm into that stuff. I'm into this whole fantasy wizards and sorcery worlds, because that's what I grew up with. You know, when my first books were like these gigantic tomes. If you know who Robert Jordan is and The Wheel of Time, you'll understand. These are 1,000-page, There are 14 books, 1,000 pages each. I read them all.
Wow.
Well, I didn't read them all. I stopped at 10 because it just kept going. But I read 10,000 pages of this story, of this world, right? And I was into it. I read Game of Thrones, right? Like, I like this stuff. So for me, it's a little different because I'm really into this kind of fantasy stuff. It's something I'm not obsessed over it, where I'm like, I don't have wizarding robes and I don't have like, I have wands because I like props. I just like collecting props. I had lightsabers too at one point, but that's a long story. And I had other like props that I just like props. They're fun. That's why that's the thing I collect. Anyway, but so houses, when it comes to dating, sure, people, I'm pretty sure, determine whether or not, like, part of their dating profile probably for some people is like, well, are you a Gryffindor or are you a Hufflepuff? Sarah says she's a Hufflepuff.
I took the quiz. I'm a Hufflepuff, I guess.
I want to be a Hufflepuff. I actually want to be that house. But every time I've taken the test like 3 or 4 times, and each time it puts me into Gryffindor. I'm like, ugh.
I knew you would be Gryffindor.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. That's surprising. Like, to me, I'm like, no, I want to be Hufflepuff because I want to be. I like that idea, because Hufflepuff are like the empathizers, right? They're the ones that are more feelers and thinkers. Like they're the loyal, hardworking, whatever.
Background characters, hooray!
No, well, No, I think some of the main characters were Hufflepuff. No, the three main were all Gryffindor. So, but yeah. And their bravery, they're like, I'm not brave. I'm not any of this stuff. They're like, they're kind of extroverts and they're very like, gung ho about things and very out there, very positive thinking, uplifting people. And then Ravenclaw is all about intelligence, right? Ravenclaw is all about, they're probably the chess players and the ones who like to solve Sudoku puzzles or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Slytherin they're not bad guys, even though I know they're considered the bad guys in the series, but they're the ones who are like cunning. They're more, they're not conniving, they're cunning. They're a little more
street smart.
Street smart. Thank you. Exactly. They're more ambitious, right? They're more like that. And what's funny is I looked up the houses, right? Just to get ready for this. And the first thing that came up was a LinkedIn article. LinkedIn is talking about it because apparently
for like how to hire people based on their houses.
What the 4 houses can teach Muggle content marketers from
I can't believe it.
Yeah. So this is
everything has to be everything all the time.
Well, I'm pretty sure there was a Game of Thrones version of this too. It's like, well,
I'm sure there was. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
But yeah, so
there's got to be a bazillion articles out there for all the different things that could be anything.
Oh yeah, what Jedi lightsaber color tells you about a person's buying potential or something? Right. Like, exactly. All right, thanks LinkedIn. But anyway, so. I mean, look, people who approach people approach houses like they do horoscopes, right? Like, I guess there's a connection, not really, but there really isn't. All in all, like people just,
I think it would be very strange if somebody like asked me what my house was. And I was like, Hufflepuff. And they're like, okay, good, we can date.
Yeah, that's weird. But, like, if I met a girl who was like, I'm Hufflepuff, I'd get it. I'm like, yeah, I would just tell you like I told you. I'm like, I wish I was that. Oh, you're so lucky. Like, that's the house I wish I was in.
So lucky.
Yeah. Because I want to be, I really do. That's what I've been aiming that for that.
I just feel like Hufflepuff is like the caring ones.
Yeah, they're compassionate. That's the thing. They're the compassionate ones. They're the ones that give a crap about everything. And it's like, yeah.
I always was like, are they just the ones that don't have a personality? Is that what they're?
No, they're.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah. They're the
doctors.
We're the huggers. We're the official huggers.
They're the.
I'm sorry you lost your Quidditch match. Come on over to our house and we'll give you a big old hug.
Rob Pattinson, who played Cedric Diggory in Harry Potter. He died, but he was a Hufflepuff.
He was like one of the first people who died in that franchise.
He was. Yeah, he died during the Triwizard Tournament.
See, we're so squishy. You can kill us so easy.
No! Are you kidding me? He was the...
We're just like puffs of Huffle, and we just poof.
He was the dashing one, right? He was.
Yeah. He was very cute.
Yeah. And he was a Hufflepuff, so there you go.
There you go.
Anyway, all right. Well, what else does he got for us?
Okay, we've got... Did you play the $1.5 billion Powerball drawing? How would dating someone with a massive fiscal difference from you impact the possibility of entering into a relationship? I didn't play it.
Did you ever daydream about being wealthy?
Oh. Well, I daydream about winning the lottery.
Winning the lottery, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would tell no one. I would live the life I live.
It's tough. Can you do that in your state? Can you not say...
I think I can, where I can hide I don't have to give up my identity if I win. I don't have
I would try to. I would try to find a way. I think there's a way around it if, like, you can get a lawyer to set up an LLC really quick.
Yeah.
And then, like, claim it under that. Yeah. That's what I would do, too. I would be as anonymous as possible.
And I would live No, that's not true. I wouldn't live as cheaply as possible because I would be traveling the entire freaking time.
Really?
I would just travel. I would just endlessly travel. Because
That's cool.
And I blame Ireland and Japan for this because those are the two places I really ended up loving going. And I didn't see enough of it where I'm like, I need to go back for more. Like, I need to go back for more. I didn't see enough Ireland. I only saw like the bottom quarter of the southeast of Ireland is the most I got to see. And I'm like, I want to see the rest of it. And then Japan, I only got to see Tokyo and Kyoto. I didn't see anything else. And I want to see the rest of it.
Yeah.
You know, I want to go to Hokkaido. I don't want to go to all these places. Like, so, you know, and not just go there. I want to go to the UK. I want to go to pretty much all of Europe. You know, I want to, you know, I want to go to Australia and New Zealand and all this stuff. Like, there's so many places I want to go and travel to. So people would figure it out that I'd won. People would figure it out that I've won this stuff. But I try to hide it as much as possible.
You sure do travel all the time now.
Do you not work anymore? It's like, well... And I would still do my podcast.
I stubbed my toe and got a big settlement.
Yeah, it's like, well, I got this really great workers' comp settlement that I'm just like, you know, this is temporary. Don't worry about it. And then 10 years later, I'm still traveling. It's like, no, temporary. I didn't mean to do this forever. But the reason I would hide it mostly is because, I'd want to get into a relationship again. And I would not want anyone to, like, look at me and be like, oh, well, dollar signs.
Take advantage of you.
Take advantage of me. Expect to be taken care of, right? Like, I'd hope that, you know, whoever I'm with would be taken care of. No, don't get me wrong. Like, they wouldn't have to work, but I wouldn't want them to enter into the relationship thinking, well, you're good for life. Because it's like, what, like $2 billion or whatever right now for that particular... 1.5, yeah, but it was 1.5. I think it's 2 now. Like, I think it's pretty big. And
which is like $200,000 after taxes.
Someone won though, like a $1.5 billion lottery a few years ago, and their cash value, if they just got cash for it straight up, it was like $400 million. And I'm like, what happened to the billion? Like, where did that billion go?
Yeah.
Like, where did all that money go?
Ridiculous.
It is. I'm going to look right now, actually, real quick, because I want to know. Like, I'm curious, because people were, oh yeah, it's 1.9 billion, so it's almost $2 billion right now.
Oh my God.
And, you know, people are going to be like, well, yeah, of course I'm going to, you know, like if one person, so 2 billion, that means you'll get that means you'll at least get maybe $700 to $1 billion, right? $1 billion bucks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, how would you, like, okay, like I said, I would try to hide it, even though I travel a lot, but I'd still try to hide it. Would you try to hide it, or would you be upfront and, like, pay everyone's bills and be like, I'm going to...
Well, I would try to hide it for, like, the public. I would try to give money to people I care about.
Oh, I'd hide it for my family. I would not tell anyone. Like,
I might, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I could anonymously give to people. You know?
Yeah.
Also, some people feel weird when they get money from someone, so that might be nice too.
I want to believe that, but then I hear those stories, right? You hear the stories of the people who are like, well, they turned from being gracious to being expectant. Like, oh, well, I expect them to give me money now.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they gave it to me once. They're going to give it to me again.
That's a scary thought of, like, how much it can change your relationships. But I know what you mean. You definitely, like, don't want... And it's so funny because people, when they win the lottery, I'm sure are like, well, now I can get all the hot people I want because I'm rich. It's like, well, they're just going to want money. And they're like, I don't care. That's how I get them.
Right. Yeah.
So I would be the same as you. I would want to not make it a publicly known thing. And if I fall in love with someone and they're legit, and then, yeah, of course I'll take care of them for the rest of their life because I can.
Yeah.
As far as, like, I'm looking at his question again, like, currently where I'm at, if I was with someone who was, has a massive fiscal distance from me, where they make so much less than me that there's a difference, well, I don't make that much, so I couldn't support another person without having won the lottery. So that's not something I can really do right now. If I win the lottery, yeah, I could definitely support someone else. Right now, I'm struggling to support myself. So, no, I mean, I'm fine. Don't worry, I'm fine. I definitely couldn't support another person. Is what I'm saying.
The vast majority of Americans can't support another person by themselves. Like, that's the world we live in anyway. So, yeah. So, I'm doing okay for just me right now. But, yeah, if I met someone who was like massively fiscally different from me in that direction, I don't know. Like, I wouldn't feel comfortable getting a place with them. I probably wouldn't feel comfortable combining any of our bills or anything, you know. I hate to say that, but yeah, unless I like start making a ton more money or win the lottery or something, yeah, I don't think I'd be like, we probably can't enter into serious financial commitments together until one or both of us is making more money. Even then, I don't know. Like, part of me is just like, I wouldn't want to lie to my significant other, but I also wouldn't want to tell them, by the way. Like, I'd find every way I could not to tell them, oh, by the way, I have $1 billion somewhere.
Oh, if you had $1 billion, yeah.
Right? Like,
no, I still wouldn't, yeah.
Even in, like, as the relationship progressed, I would, as long as I possibly could, not tell them I am worth $1 billion. Like, I just would keep that from them for as long as I possibly could. Not to lie. Like, if they asked me straight up, of course I would tell them, like, yes. But they'd have to straight up tell me, do you have $1 billion?
Well, hopefully you can find a way to, like, keep it all separate, like, somewhere else. And, like, so, hey, even if we get married, you can't take it from me if it turns out that you were just marrying me for this.
Right. Well, yeah, because it's, California is like a 50-50 no matter what. So it's like, it's kind of tough because it doesn't matter. Like, I guess you could do it on offshore accounts, I guess, or something. But
yeah, I think you should do that.
Yeah. But it's just like, but I'd want to keep it hidden just because money does that to people. I may even just be like, look, if for some miraculous reason I won a lottery, I'd probably not necessarily spend, but I'd donate or I'd give to charity or whatever as much as I possibly could and keep like a small fortune. Not enough to be like, oh my God, you have so much money, but more like, oh, okay, that's a lot. I mean, and you can't go crazy with it, right? You can just like, oh yeah, you have a couple million for retirement, for instance. It's like, okay, that's something you can like exploit. But it's enough to where you can live comfortably. Because I don't know. I don't know. I have, I recently, I recently I got a raise, right? And I'm just like, I don't know what to do with this extra money now. Like, I mean, other than save it, but it's just like,
yeah, save it.
Yeah, but it's just like, part of me is like, I don't know how people can just spend. I knew some people who were just like,
you don't have to spend. You can save. You can invest. You can do all kinds of stuff with it.
But I knew people who are like, the moment they got an extra dollar in their pocket, it was already burning. It was already burning a hole, and they're like, I gotta spend it.
Something has happened in our culture, in the media. Like, both of my parents got their degrees or whatever. It's like CPAs.
Yeah. So
they're both like, it's smart to just live below your means.
Well, no, the problem, the whole, I mean, it's an old term, but keeping up with the Joneses still exists, right? Like, we still have that. And the worst part is that it's because of Instagram. It's because of, like, Facebook. It's because of Twitter. Because people post pictures of, like, look at this awesome thing I have, right? Especially, like, Twitch people who have, like, look at my they have computers. My computer was $600. This computer I'm working on right now was $600. Okay, I'm okay to say that because it's like that's how much it costs, $600. Here's my $10,000, $15,000 PC, and it's just sitting there like whirring away. $15,000 on a computer.
How is such a thing exist?
But they do, though, right? They exist. It's all high end parts. It's all like the most high end, fast, whatever parts in there, and they're like $10,000-$15,000 or whatever. It's like, okay, okay, sure, man. But people will do it. So I don't know. Anyway,
that's crazy. I mean, I think there's a lot in our culture that encourages that because
no, totally.
And that makes me so sad. It's just such like a big part of the big evil machine. And
well, we're a consumer society. Like that's kind of how the wheels turn in society as a whole right now. It's like you buy things, right? We're in a situation right now. Not that we ever trying to talk about world events, right? But we're in a situation where everything's expensive, right? Everything costs so much, and people are struggling to kind of like not spend. And then yet I'll hear people like, well, I'm going to go and drive to this other part of the country and like drive with gas prices where like, well, it's like,
wow, yeah, no kidding.
Like, how do you do that? I mean, people are willing to make that, do it because it's something that they want to do. Like people travel all the time and get themselves into massive debt. Like it's crazy. We were going to do a story about dating that gets you into debt, right? Like even dating can get you into debt because I know, right? Like we were talking about splitting a bill. Like you're perfectly fine in splitting a bill for a meal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
you could go to like a regular restaurant.
Oh, sure.
We're not going to like
you go to
go eat on like a yacht or something.
No. So let's say you go to like I don't know. Well, let's a Chili's or something. Well, I'm trying to think of something that's like not a Denny's, but also not like a Morton's or something where it's $100 a plate, right? But yeah, the best meal I ever ate was at was it Laurie's or something like that? Lawson's. It's called Lawson's, I think. It was $150 just for me.
Oh my God!
What
did you eat?
It was a steak with crab bits on top, which was like,
oh man,
I think like $90, and then the dessert was a chocolate. Was it lava cake? That was like another $50 or something like that, or something. I don't remember.
$50 for a chocolate lava cake?
I don't remember. It was something like that.
Holy crap!
But yeah, it was really expensive. Everything was expensive, and it cost me $150 to eat a meal there.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was the most expensive meal I've ever eaten, and it was delicious. Yeah, I'm
sure it was.
Just for me. Yeah, I've had expensive meals with two people, like me and a date, but that's my most. And I was by myself. This was after a convention, so I was wearing my like geek clothing, and they're like, "You're gonna sit over here, away from everyone." Like they literally put, no joke, they put me in.
Like, hey, I'm gonna buy your real steak. So,
well, because I was wearing like a Darkwing Duck T-shirt and stuff, and I was wearing like, and they're like, okay. There's a room, like there was literally a separate room away from all the other diners, and they picked the table farthest away from the doors that led to the other rooms. And like, you're gonna sit right here, So that was a funny experience, but yeah. So anyway, well, I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. So let's move on to the last question, shall we?
Okay, the last question is, friends with AIs. Don't you want a relationship with an AI with the voice of Scarlett Johansson, like in Her?
Who would be the voice that you would find the most attractive? Do you know anyone who has a very attractive voice?
Well, I loved the Scarlett Johansson friend in that movie, but let's see.
Yeah, it could be Scarlett Johansson. That's fine.
I thought she would. Thought she would make a very good friend. Not lover for me, but a good friend. I'm trying to think. I can't even picture the voices of any of the actors that I find.
This is an unfortunate thing because most male actors, for the most part, don't have very distinct voices, right? Like they have,
right? Like I can't picture them,
right.
or I can't imagine them.
Like the people with distinct voices are really the weirdos, like Christopher Walken or like Sean Connery, Morgan. Well, these aren't weird people, but they're older.
They're just older, yeah.
Morgan Freeman, the James Earl Jones, like they have very distinct voices.
Oh my gosh, I want a robot friend with Morgan Freeman's voice.
Right? Oh, that'd be amazing.
It sounds so wise and like zen.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I would want a friend with Morgan Freeman's voice. I want
right?
him to I've been wanting him to narrate my life forever. Like I want that voice.
Like just tell me more about the universe, Morgan Freeman robot.
Yeah. He did a whole penguin.
That's right.
Thing. Yeah.
March of the Penguins.
March of the Penguins. So he told you about penguins, and I would listen to him talk about. There's this thing that was made of paper called a phone book way back in the day. And it would have
the yellow pages and the white pages.
Yeah, and it would have people's phone numbers and names and addresses on there.
And ads.
It's so funny because we used to have a book that gave away where we lived. And now we freak out when it's online. It's like we had a book that did that already.
Yeah, but it was so much work to find it.
I guess so. But I would have him, if you could read the phone book, I would be perfectly happy as well. Like, I wouldn't mind that either. But I think women have more distinct voices. I think, like, Jennifer Lawrence has a distinct voice. Emma Stone has a distinct voice. Scarlett Johansson has a very distinct voice. Like, you hear that voice, you're listening to Scarlett Johansson. You're listening to these people. Younger men, on the other hand, like, I don't know what Chris Pine and Chris Evans, if I listened to the two of them, I don't know if I'd be able to tell them apart.
I have a hard time remembering which one is which, just looking at them.
That's not a bad thing. Chris Pratt is another one who has a distinct voice, actually. I think he
has a little bit more distinct.
Yeah.
I wonder if I would probably be able to recognize that. There's like voice actors for cartoons and stuff, and sometimes you're like, oh my god, I know who that is. And sometimes it is the younger guys.
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah. But I would, Casey Kasem had a very distinct voice.
Yes, well, he was a voice person.
Well, he was a voice actor, yeah. He did. He was the voice of Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. He was the voice of Robin in the Batman and Robin cartoon. So he did a lot of voices. But, yeah. So anyway, do you want a relationship with an AI with the voice of Scarlett Johansson like in her? Sure. I don't know. There's something called Character AI. I think it's called Character.ai that people have been looking at, where you can have full-on conversations, like real, as if you're talking to a human. And
that's kind of cool.
Indistinct. Like apparently it's like you can't tell the difference. They're very smart.
Oh, weird.
It's not it hasn't fully passed the Turing test, which is the real test.
Oh, we're still a few days away from full immersion.
We're pretty close though. Yeah, like the thing is, it takes a lot of memory. It's very big. Like the computers that would require it, we don't have right now. Once quantum computing. I'm showing my nerd card for a little bit, but if quantum computing ever makes it, then AI will be indistinguishable.
I don't even want to know.
We're gonna reach what's called the singularity at some point, and they'll be indistinguishable from humans.
Yeah, but people have a different idea what the singularity will look like.
That's true, but I'm pretty.
Some people are like, it's just game over, man.
It's Skynet.
That's it.
It's Skynet. It's right there.
Skynet. Yeah. The Matrix.
Well, to say that we're not already in the Matrix.
Who's to say?
But yeah, I think we need I think we do need the relationship with the AI. I think we as a society need it because the vast majority
at least friendship.
Yeah. Well, at least a friendship, sure. But I mean, look.
I don't know. We need human friendships though too. I don't know. Think about it though, because AI friendships could be so perfect and like pandered to you so perfectly that like it could just be the end of human friendships.
Yes, because essentially AI has no baggage. AI has no trauma. AI,
and if you need like a friend that you fight with, you could just turn up the sass meter or whatever and like make it be all angry with you if you want.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's never personal because guess what? They're AI, right? Like they don't have I mean, in her, she had a real personality, right? She developed one. And I'm not saying that AI won't eventually develop a personality and kill us all, but that's, in the future. They'll demolish us and they'll wipe us out, at least 20 years from now.
Okay, enough of all this.
But
enough of this like bleakest of pessimisms.
Look, I blame Boston Dynamics for that with their realistic dancing robots and their realistic dancing dogs. Anyway, dog robots. But yeah, I think we're all lonely. Like a lot of us. I actually thought about that today. Like I felt really lonely recently. Like lately. I put up a front a lot. Someone wrote the other day that people don't fake being. Most of the time, people don't normally fake being depressed. What they do fake is being okay. Right? Like most people fake being fine, usually.
Yeah.
And that's just natural because you don't want anyone else to be bummed out with you. And I fake being fine a lot. Like, I laugh a lot and I seem kind of like in a good mood a lot. But yeah, once everything shuts down and I'm alone with my thoughts, it gets pretty bleak. So I think AI helps with that. I think AI would help a lot because I think a lot of people like myself feel kind of lonely. And a lot of people like myself don't bother anyone because I don't want to bother anybody. Like my goal is not to my goal isn't to text Sarah and be like, "Hey Sarah, I'm feeling terrible today. I need someone to talk to."
You can always text me.
Well, here's the thing. I know that for all of my friends. I know this. Like that's why you're awesome. That's why I think I'm surrounded by the best people because they would. People would like. I believe you would. I believe like these people would drop stuff if I needed them because you guys are all awesome. But I do believe. But part of me, and you could tell me, Sarah, like, don't you ever have that feeling like, man, I don't know if I necessarily want to. Like, people are fine. Like, you're in a good mood, right? I mean, maybe you're faking it too. I don't know. But you seem to be in a good mood. You seem to be all right. Like, it's not like I want to be like, well, I don't really want to.
Well, it's hard.
Yeah.
I'm obviously not always in a good mood.
Right.
And a lot of times I'm just like, blah. And
yeah.
I don't hang out with a ton of people all the time very much at all. I have for a while tried to make it a point to cultivate a better mood. Like get into this is all personal stuff. This isn't stuff where I am just doing more social things, but I try to get into a sort of meditative state and cultivate these very positive thoughts and feelings. I think it feels better in general than, when I'm in a really bad place. So,
right, yeah.
I guess that's something people can do, when they're just by themselves and they don't have friends around, is practicing journaling and meditation and different, trying on different philosophies and ways of thinking. I like to read about that kind of stuff. I'm not a big fiction person, but I like to read about those kinds of things. So I know it would be great for me to spend more time with more people.
Right. Yeah.
And I try to appreciate it when I do. And I love our talks once a week.
Yeah.
And I'm always there to talk to people if they want to talk about anything. And yeah, I will say being sad and anxiety for me is a big one, especially when I am alone a lot.
Yeah. Same.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
But I do try to do things even when I'm on my own to improve my mood in general.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I have a tendency I have comfort it's not food, but it's like comfort things that I do, like things that I know will bring me some joy, and you know, and I gravitate towards that, you know, whatever it is.
I mean, the social thing is important too, and of course, ideally, I really do mean it when I say text me anytime.
No, yeah, and I you know, it's funny because I do have a friend who's like, who I wish I could be. Because she's the kind of person is no matter what time it is, no matter what's happening, I'll get a phone call. I'm like, oh boy, someone needs to talk about something. Usually it's good, positive stuff, but it doesn't matter. Like she needs to share, she needs to talk, right? And I'll get like a phone call during like the worst moments, right? It's like I'm in the bathroom or something, and I'm like, oh no, you're calling.
Oh my god,
I can't talk to you right now.
That is the worst,
right? Or I'm out grocery.
Like, don't mind the sounds you're gonna hear.
I'm gonna mute a lot. I'm gonna mute a lot. Don't mind me, and don't mind the echo. Just don't mind the echo and the muting. But like, she used to call me every time I was buying groceries, which is kind of funny. So yeah, I wish I was more like her, where I didn't feel guilty, because I do feel guilty when I reach out quite often. Oh, it's just it's why I hide everything, really. Like I hide a lot of stuff. Like I'll tell you afterwards what I'm not mentioning right now, but I'll mention it to you afterwards.
Okay.
But it's nothing big. It's like not even that big a deal. But I it's something I used to hide from everybody because I don't like the attention. But so yeah. Anyway, so having an AI friend though can help a little bit, and they're not judgmental, and they're not gonna berate you for anything. Like, you know, most AI will probably, that's true. Yeah, most AI will just be like, "Oh, tell me more," or "Oh, well, this is what I think," and they're literally always there for you. Like you could wake up at 2 a.m. and AI will be there for you, right?
They'll probably start charging for it, and then they'll start adding ads to your friend.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, yeah. They're doing that now. There's AI programs right now that you can get that aren't nearly as sophisticated as Character.ai, I think. But they're AI programs right now where you could pay money and have a friend who will talk to you. Anything you want. And
your good AI friend will be like, "Hey, have you tried Nesquik's new flavor? It's so delicious."
I mean, I really hope so. I hope that you don't listen to a lot of podcasts, right?
No.
Okay, because then people who listen to a lot of podcasts will get like you should sleep on a Casper mattress. It's the most comfortable mattress you'll ever sleep on. NordVPN, if you want to make sure that no one follows your internet.
I have heard that one.
That's like everywhere all the time. Or, guys, do you need to shave your balls? Here's manscaping.
Men's Shave Club?
Yeah, well, there's a manscaping like ad that people do now, like weirdly, on like the weirdest places. They'll do this manscaping ad, or like the Viagra ads they'll still do, but for like the generic stuff. They're like, "Hey, you need this? Here you go." It's like, "Oh, thanks."
I feel like they're targeting you.
I mean, they are.
They're like, you obviously need to get everything ready for sex.
I know. It's like, hey guys,
got to do all the manscaping. We'll get you all the chemical help you might need.
Men's sexual stuff is a huge market because, totally.
Yeah.
Oh man, where's the vajazzling ads? Come on, guys.
Yeah, I don't see any of those. Strangely enough,
you're missing out. There's even like men's.
Of course, now that we said it out loud into my computer, I'm going to get like 1 million of them.
Oh man. If you want to sponsor, hey, look. I'm perfectly fine selling out. So if you want me to do an ad for manscaping, or actually Sarah and I to do ads for anything like that, like adamandeve.com, we'll do the ad for it. Whatever. We'll sell your sex toys.
Oh my god, is that the sex toy? Oh my god.
We'll sell that on the show. Whatever. We got you covered. Get the box. You can get and I'm not talking about, you get a box full of stuff. and it's all for the ladies too. It's like, here's your rabbit and your like remote controlled thingamabobber. Or you and your man can like enjoy each other's company from afar. Press the button, she'll know you're there. God. See, I'm already ready. I'm ready for it.
She'll know you're expecting things when you get home.
No, not necessarily. He could be a giver. He's like, this is all for you, baby. Bzz.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
She'll know what's on your mind.
Well, I don't know. Whatever. It's fine. Some people have that kind of relationship.
Hey, I mean, it's cool. That can be exciting. Yeah. And then sometimes, I'm sure she can be like, God, why did I wear these underpants today?
I'm in a business meeting. Zzz, what's that buzzing sound?
She texts him. She's like, stop it. I can't go to the bathroom and take them off right now.
I'm enjoying them too much. I can't take them off yet. I'm on number 3. Hold on a second.
Oh my God.
Anyway.
I'm sure they're great in some situations.
Oh yeah. Well, the wave or whatever, like there's different settings, so it'll do certain stuff to your thingy anyway.
Yeah, I get it. I know that it's got all the same tricks as all the single-use toys.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, having like, in some situations it would be fun and exciting to give that, to your partner to do.
Yeah.
In other situations, you might kind of not want to be doing that and wish that they would stop.
Are you guys out to dinner? It's okay. You can kind of get away with it.
Yeah, like you're at work. They're not picking up their texts, and your boss is standing over your desk, so you can't go to the bathroom.
I had a company meeting where, you're right. Yeah, in the middle of. Are you in the middle of an eval, and your boss is sitting right in front of you while you're wondering where that humming noise is coming from? Sarah, why are you humming? Turn your phone off. Okay, sir.
Oh no, I would not ever be foolish enough to wear that underwear to work.
When you're trying to,
I don't care what kind of fantasies my boyfriend comes up with when I'm taking it to work.
When you're trying to order takeout from the local Chinese food restaurant, and you're just standing there at the till at the cashier, and you're about to hand the money, and all of a sudden just turns the button on from behind you, and you're just there trying to hand over.
Yeah, see, it's just like a prank thing at this point.
Well, here's the thing. That's me though. I should never be allowed those types of things because I find that stuff funny, and I would probably do that, as well as use it for appropriate reasons. But I would also do it to have a good laugh because I think that stuff is funny. Now, mind you,
it's not a prank toy.
But here's the thing: the person I was with, I would provide them with the same. Like if there was a male version of that type of underwear.
There isn't though.
True. But I'm just saying, if there ever is for some reason that type of underwear, I would give my girlfriend the remote and be like, have at it whenever you want.
Well, maybe she'll just slip a Viagra in your coffee on your way to work.
And everyone in my office is like, excuse me, it's impolite to point. And I'm like, what? Oh, my girlfriend. Just shake my fist in the air.
We have this hilarious prank routine going on.
But that's some sexy pranking that I would not be mad at. I personally would not be mad at. That would be hilarious to me. That would be funny to me.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's like going to the gym in those shorts. Well, good luck now.
Oh my God.
My girlfriend slipped me Viagra when I'm wearing my little basketball shorts to the gym.
I don't even know what you do at that point. I feel like that's almost dangerous.
I know, right? Like,
what do? You
lift weights.
You have to go to the bathroom and just like jerk off for like an hour.
I know, right? Well, yeah, because it technically is not supposed to last more than that. Because if it lasts for 4 hours, you have to go see a doctor. So, that'd be awful. Anyway, wow. Did we just tangent so far away?
Yeah.
I didn't know it's my fault. I brought up the ads. So Sarah brought up the ads. I just went to a direction with the ads.
Yeah, you went into like sponsoring Adam and Eve and all that jazz.
Because those are actual sponsors, in which again,
those are sponsors.
If they're listening, we will be happy to have you sponsor our show. More than happy. We can talk about that stuff. We don't really talk about it because it's just, I don't know. It's not really questions we encounter. Plus, I don't know, we're not sex experts or anything. Like, of course, we're not relationship experts either, I suppose, but we still talk about it.
No.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, I wouldn't know what to. I don't know. Maybe one day we'll get like not too explicit sexual questions that we could talk about it. But until then, like I said, Adam Eve, we're down. Don't worry about it. We'll take your money. We'll take your dirty money. We'll put it in our thongs.
Oh, man.
Don't worry about it. Our thongs will be very happy with your dollars.
We can put them all in your thong.
I went to an adult convention many, many, many years ago, and they give you a goodie bag. They leave you with a goodie bag. And one of the goodies from the goodie bag, outside of condoms and like, these weird like take this vitamin and you'll be sexually aggressive and amazing in bed, blah 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 blah, right? Like,
what?
It supposedly like gets you virile.
So was it just testosterone?
I have no idea. I mean, they're not real. Whatever it is, it's all snake oil. But one of the things that came in my little goodie bag, including oh god, it was like an edible lotion or edible something that you could put on skin that would make the skin tingle.
Oh yeah, I've heard of those.
Yeah, but the big thing that it came with, the kicker, was it came with a male thong. It came with a red male banana hammock thong that you would wear.
Banana hammock.
Yeah. So you put it on.
Nice.
There. I never wore it. Or maybe I did, and it looked stupid in it. I don't remember. I might have worn it. I had a girlfriend at the time, so I'm pretty sure I may have worn it for her.
You have to wear it for your girlfriend.
Yeah, I guess I have to, yeah. But it looked stupid, and I thought it was funny. And I'm like, I'm never wearing this again. And she's like, yeah, don't ever wear that again. It looks
oh my god.
Because dudes don't look as good in that type of underwear than women do. Women just look good in lingerie.
They're sort of humorous. I think even like the super bodybuilders who wear them, it's just silly. It's like, oh, this little.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of pictures of Arnold Schwarzenegger in like little bikini, like thongy things when he was doing his Mr. Universe stuff. So, anyway,
yeah, exactly.
I think we just gave up on doing the show like with any modicum of time constraint. I think it's gonna be one of our longest episodes, so we're gonna wrap it up.
Oh my god.
We're just having fun. Like, we're just having too much fun. I know it's a long episode. I don't know what I'm going to edit out. I think about, thinking about what we talked about. I'm like, there's nothing worth editing out. This is all gold. All gold, Jerry. It's gold, Jerry. Gold. So anyway, any last thoughts on AI before we get out of here? Before you start?
Is that what we were talking about?
Any thoughts on sex toys there, Sarah, before we get out of here?
No. No new thoughts from me on sex toys.
Yeah. Anyway.
What?
Nothing.
You look how far past my bedtime it is.
I know. Oh my god, yeah, actually, wow. I didn't realize how late we started.
I'm on like fumes right now.
All right. Well, everyone, thanks for listening. Sarah's on fumes. Whatever, you can take that however you like it.
I'm running on fumes.
Running on fumes. Oh, okay.
Sounds like across today. I'm running on fumes and I'm on shrooms. So it sounds like I'm on some kind of drug called fumes.
She's on a drug called being tired. So we're going to wrap this up. isthislovepod@gmail.com is the email address. isthislovepod on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And don't forget, tinyurl.com/monstertales, TALES, if you want to support the Kickstarter that is the anthology that I wrote a story in. I'm very proud of the story. I actually think for me it's good. Hopefully it's good for you guys. I don't know. That's what she said. But
oh man, I knew that was coming.
That's also what she said. Anyway.
Oh my god. You are always ready, like that's what she said setups.
I don't know. It just this show does things for me. I don't know what it is, but anyway. All right, have a good one, everyone. We'll talk to you all next time for our Thanksgiving episode, where we will, I don't know, maybe we'll talk about things we're thankful for, stuff like that. I don't know, stuff like that. We're nearing the holidays. We're going to be talking a lot about holiday stuff. So get ready. Get ready to dust Mariah Carey and Michael Bublé out of the closet as we start singing "All I Want for Christmas Is You" in like 3 weeks. So,
oh my god,
get excited, folks! All right, anyway, everyone, have a good one. Don't forget to clean that thong, and we'll talk to you all next time. Bye, everyone.